This is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. We must increase vaccinations among the unvaccinated with new vaccination requirements.
It's not going to work. We have other countries with much higher rates of vaccination, and they're seeing record surges of COVID because that's what viruses do.
Many of us are frustrated with the nearly 80 million Americans who are still not vaccinated.
Them, their freedom. I want my freedom to live.
Rest in peace, Wheezy.
We are going to need the people to engage in age-old American tradition of simply saying, no, I'm not going to comply. Now, what are you going to do about it? It never stops. They want things to get worse because they want you to suffer so that they can grandstand on your suffering and push for even more control.
They have criminalized freedom. They've made getting sick illegal.
This isn't about COVID any more than the Patriot Act was about Al-Qaeda. It's about government asserting more control over your lives, your rights, your properties, and in this case, your bodily autonomy.
It has a lot of vaccinated people alarmed because of the power grab that's involved.
Enough is enough. We better change our tune and start resisting.
Government makes up less than 1% of the population. If even 5 or 10% of Americans simply refuse to comply, all of this goes away.
Absolutely, this is the hill worth dying on.
We haven't given the statutory authority to any agency to do this kind of thing.
There is no such thing as government power. There's only what we are willing to comply to.
We're in the tough stretch, and it could last for a while.
That's what this has always been about. It's never about what they say it is. It's about controlling you, and it ends when we decide to end it.
This BS is going to stop.
It's time for us to wake up.
There's only one way to fight back against this, and it's mass non-compliance.
This is the most important thing to fight against.
You can help stop this. You are the power.
There's nothing, not a single thing we're unable to do if we do it together.
Yeah, we're back, and just when we thought we were getting over talking about Libertarian Party corruption, I'm just as sick of it as you are. I'm just as sick of it as the next person. I'm just as sick of it as probably my guest or guests today. I'm guessing they probably are sick of it as well. But we will stop talking about Libertarian Party corruption just as soon as the Libertarian Party stops being corrupt. So we're going to share another story today, and we'll get into that just in a moment. We are stalling a bit because we do have one other person that might be joining us. Shut up with the music. We do have one other person that might be joining us, but they're not here yet. So we're going to stall a little bit, give people a little bit more time to get in here, into the chats, drop into the chats, leave the likes, do all the stupid things millennials do. We'll get weird in just a moment. Until then, let's kick this intro and let's get weird.
The following is a Goulash Media production. goulashmedia.net.
Remember a simpler time when it was okay to be weird, have fun, and think for yourself?
Well, those days are over. The art of conversation itself is dead. Sacrificed on the altar of divide and conquer and disguised as political correctness and spared feelings. I believe that unity can only come from truth, and that the only way to find truth is by exploring and embracing our valuable differences and having civil, open-minded, and uncomfortable discourse. Conspiracies, politics, religion, and all the taboo topics your family just praise you don't bring up around the Thanksgiving dinner table. We are here to literally change the world one uncomfortable conversation at a time. So if you're easily offended, put your big girl panties on and buckle up, Buttercup, because you chose to be here.
I'm Dan Smots, you are the power, and this is The System is Down.
All right, house cleaning time. Time to get back into this shit. Before we get into it, thank you all for being here. Welcome to the show. This is The System is Down. I am Dan Smuts, your host of The System is Down, the show that this is. And we've got a lot to talk about today, I'm sure. Busy week. Also, I did want to mention, tonight I was supposed to be going on Josh Smith with Break the Cycle, Josh Denny, Dave, Casey, and all those guys. This is the third time he's rescheduled, and we're rescheduling again because Josh Denny is a little under the weather. And I won't say what he has because I think that would be, I don't know, outing him for his medical history or something like that. I don't know, whatever. An act of aggression, probably. But we are going to get into the conversation, but I do have to remind you guys about a couple things. First and foremost being you guys in the Downers Club, and there are two people that are not added to this list yet. I need to get you on there. Sean-Luc Picard and, well, actually, Brian Johnson just upgraded from 5 to 15. So, Brian, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. And Sean-Luc Picard, we'll get you on there in a minute. And here's the rest of you. Go join the Downers Club. People like Gremlin666, Lisa Debus, Victoria Berger, Cole, Dickie Walnuts, Level Zero, Vanza Media, Brian Johnson, there he is, Jack Casey, Javari, Kyle Evans, Craig DeCosta, Joe Kabinski, Mitchell something, Tim Brown, Aaron Stute, Brian McWilliams, Trenton Campbell, Lucas Riley, just left. Lucas left, actually. I don't know if I should call people out when they leave, but I just noticed it before I got on here, and I'm friends with him, so I can give him shit. Lucas, I know you'll never hear this because I think you stopped listening to the show, and that's why you left. But thank you for all your support, and screw you for leaving. If you want to get your name on that list, go on over to patreon.com/The System is Down and sign up for the Downers Club for as little as $5 a month, so I don't have to have a bunch of ads in this stupid show because YouTube demonetized me years ago. But you'll get, over in the Downers Club, you'll get more weird, more raw, more offensive, more weekly content, bonus episodes of the show every single week, including our after parties, our game shows, our TV and movie reviews, and all that fun stuff. Go get it at patreon.com/The System is Down. And it was mentioned early in the ads, in the pre-roll stuff, but Jack Casey Books. Jack Casey's got a new book out called WVW, and you can get it at jackcaseybooks.com. Jack Casey is a guy who writes books, and one of them is a book that I read. It's called WVW. It's right here on my desk, and you can't see it because it's too dark. Actually, you can't see it because that title card's there. You can't see it because it's too dark, but he's sending me a new, a lighter printed cover, and we'll get that up there soon, and maybe we'll auction this one off or pass it off or something. But you should buy it. You should read it because it's good enough for me to read, and that's saying something for my ADHD brain. But it's also it's nice and short, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I highly recommend it. It's cheap. It's easy. It's just like Jack. JackCaseyBooks.com. Go get it. WVW right now. And let's see, what else do we got here? We've got the shirts up in the shirt store. We've got a whole bunch of shirts, these and many, many more, but these are the newest. They are ones like the Ryle Kitten House Defense Attack Cats shirt, established 2020. We've got the Revolution will not be televised, it will be podcasted. Thank you, C.D. McRae, for that idea for a shirt that you didn't mean to give me as an idea for a shirt, but I turned it into a shirt. And I find your hysteria hysterical, and I'm tired of pretending it's not. Get all those and many, many more over at thesystemsdown.tv/store today and trigger all the right people in all the right ways. But I think that's enough. I think that's enough of all that. We have some shit going down in Massachusetts. We talked about this before. We had Justin O'Donnell and Rothbardian on back when that went down. And we've talked about the Delaware situation. We've talked about the New Hampshire situation. We're all the way back to Massachusetts because new things are brewing. And when I say brewing, I mean they're like spilling over like retarded lava and boiling water. I don't know. Whatever. But we've got a guest here today to discuss what happened. And his name is this guy, Brodi Elwood. Brody, there it is. How are you doing, man?
Doing well. How about you?
I mean, all things considered, how are you doing?
Yeah. Holding in there.
Yeah. So let's start from the top. I'm not a huge fan of being like, hey, how'd you find liberty? Give me all that stuff. But on these types of conversations, I do think it is pertinent and important to get a little bit of backstory on like your involvement in the Libertarian Party, how you started, what you've gone through, and where you are today. So just give me a brief synopsis of who you are and what you've done.
Yeah. So I was raised kind of classic traditional conservative, but with libertarian leanings. So when I got to college to kind of explore, what I believed myself, I kind of hung out with the more kind of Ben Shapiro types. But I was only on that stage for like 6 months, and then somebody introduced me to Bastiat, and then I found Mises and Rothbard, and it was game over for there. I'm the classic, what's the difference between a minarchist and an anarchist? Just wait 6 months, and that was exactly me. It took me about 6 months to go from, some type of Misesian minarchism or Ron Paulian minarchism to full-on Rothbardian anarchism. So that happened about, college time, which is 2017, 2018 time period for me. And it was when I, finally settled on the fact that I was a libertarian through and through. I started looking out to like, okay, what parties or what groups kind of represent my philosophy. And I looked at the Libertarian Party and I was like, that is not what I think libertarians look like, especially here in Massachusetts, unfortunately. So I did some, kind of sat on it for a bit. And then I found the Mises Caucus, and I was like, oh, those are what I think libertarians look like. I fit in culturally with them, and it kind of felt like I found a political home with them. And this was around.
Did you hear the rumors before you found them?
I didn't. I did
Really?
not, unfortunately. So
I was the opposite. Like I heard all the rumors. I was like, I don't know what this is. Their logo's kind of boring, so they're probably just boring politics. And I heard a bunch of the rumors during all the campaigns and stuff of 2020 leading up to 20 something. And I believed them, and I went along with the rumors for not so much that I believed that they were these evil monsters or whatever that they're made out to be, but I was just like, if these people who are friends with me at the time are saying these things, I tend to believe them, and I don't know, like I don't have time to dig into every single person's backstory. And it wasn't until about a year later I started looking into it, and I was like, oh, you were all full of shit the whole time. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No. That's I had seen the Mises messaging before. I'd even heard rumors, and it's really just seeing that, like, oh, hey, there are people that think like me in the Libertarian Party that got me to join formally. And so this is like late 2019 period, and it's really the whole COVID mania starting up that really kicked me in the butt to get involved more directly. Just being like, I couldn't convince myself I lived in the free country anymore, so I decided to get more involved. This is about 2020, the 2020 election. And kind of rest is history from there. Again, slowly more and more involved and ingrained in both the party politics and in caucus involvement over the past couple of years.
Yeah. What are some of the values, some of the things in the Mises Caucus that lured you in? Was it the Nazism, the racism? Which one of the things?
Oh yeah.
The white supremacy?
Oh yeah. Sorry. Is my hood back there? Sorry.
Saw it
No, it was really the platform. If you go to the LP Mises Caucus page, there's a platform page, lpmisescaucus.com/platform, I believe. It was really this platform that convinced me. I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I think from studying various libertarian thinkers like Rothbard, Mises, Bastiat, so on and so forth. Particularly the strong planks that are on property rights, economics, and decentralization.
Yeah.
I really think that bringing back something like secession into the public discourse is absolutely key to kind of getting out from under the regime that we live under currently. And it's really the Mises Caucus that really puts that at the forefront, something I can attach myself to.
Yeah, absolutely. So take us forward a bit. You say the rest is history. You got involved in the party. You got involved in the caucus and all that stuff. What has been your involvement in both of those things since then?
Yeah, so on the party level, Unfortunately, the Libertarian Party here is fairly insular, and it's actually kind of hard to get involved. Just not a lot of people doing things, so I kind of had to figure out what the
Shocking.
heck I was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was never welcomed into the party or invited. The entire time I've been a dues-paying member, they have not had in-person meetings. I think they've had like maybe one virtual meeting, which was actually led by Pat Ford, who lives in Rhode Island. So not a lot of interaction. So I basically hit the ground running with some of the other state organizers here, and we've been running our own kind of just local chapter meetings, Mises Caucus meetings, and through that and other networking, we've built up some local affiliates here to do a lot of involvement, which kind of fits in with my idea of how the Libertarian Party should work. Is really should be this grassroots organization. We're not the old stupid parties that kind of are basically these grotesque corporations, but we're this like decentralized grassroots movement, and we should act like it.
Yeah.
And so I really started focusing on having in-person local meetups, just to like break bread with other libertarians, discuss things, and figure out ways to get involved.
Nice, very cool. So, what brings us to now? Like, you, what was your position in the party there?
I had no formal position in the party.
Okay.
I was just a dues-paying member, active. Sorry, in the state party, I should say. I am the chair of the Libertarian Party of Middlesex. But that's of course a position in a local affiliate, and kind of fits in with my idea of how the party should go forward. Is very localized parties.
Right. So for those that don't know, let's break down what happened. Just what was it, Monday? This the secret meeting and all that jazz that they're doing. That was Monday, right?
Yeah. So this all started. So I'll go back a step, kind of answering your previous question of where this all began. So, in March, a bunch of us showed up that are part of the Mises Caucus and several allies. We showed up to the convention as regular dues-paying members to get involved. We really didn't have the numbers to really exert much influence, which is fine. So we voted along with people we thought who would be honest libertarians and maybe not represent us 100%, but we were there to get ready and to get active. But sometime in the summer, one of our Mises organizers decided that he would like to start up a Twitter and maybe recruit on Twitter, and that got us in some hot water from some controversial things we said on our Twitter, usual stuff, calling us all, we're all bigots and racist, or whatever, for being daring to be slightly controversial, much akin to New Hampshire tweets. And this led to one of our members, actually, both a state party member and somebody who caucuses with us, getting kicked out, whom you've had on before, Masha.
Yep.
And this really accelerated the party establishment's worry that we were here, and that the bigoted horde was going to take over the precious Libertarian Association of Massachusetts.
Right.
During this entire time, I've been going to state committee meetings since May or June. They always like to, talk about how the Mises horde and the runaway Republicans are going to take over the party and ruin the precious Libertarian Association of Massachusetts. But in around October, November, they decided to try and actually do something to prevent a takeover. And this was how do I put this? A code of, I like to call it the code of compliance. It was first named a code of conduct. I think what's actually in the bylaws now is called the standards of behavior. What this essentially is,
the standards of behavior. That just sounds so gross for a Libertarian Party to have a standards of behavior. But proceed. All of the I don't know. I mean, I understand like conduct and stuff like that. Like we have to have some sort of boundaries or something, but standards of behavior, I mean, you know what that means. That means don't be Karen Ann Harlos and drop F-bombs in a meeting or something. Like, what were these standards of behavior? Was it mean tweets and F-bombs or something?
Yeah, I have the actual document up here. So the first document that was proposed was actually the most atrocious. It would make the ACLU blush, or the New York Times standards make them blush.
Really?
It was filled with all sorts of things. Like you were required essentially to maintain your membership to support any Libertarian candidate in the state of Massachusetts. So that would mean even if you like, if like a straight up commie is running as a Libertarian, you'd have to support them just because they bear the Libertarian Party name. Fortunately, that provision was extremely controversial and was stripped out.
Well, yeah, I mean, like that seems a little bit odd to me too, when you're like pissed off that a bunch of people are calling themselves libertarians that you see as these alt-right evil people, but you're saying anybody who's running as a libertarian has to be supported by everybody. Doesn't I don't know, isn't that kind of conflict with the previous statement?
Yeah, I agree. It's it was obviously very controversial in that they couldn't get that through, but what they did get through was essentially this Stalin-esque purge document that allows the leadership to pretty much do what they want. It's so vague and yet so specific that they can wield it against anybody who isn't politically favorable to them. That's exactly what they did on Monday. So this code of conduct we saw as an issue for not only us as Mises Caucus members, but for members generally. I don't think it's proper for a state committee to have the power to expel members. I think it's solely the membership that should have that power, and that's reflected in my local affiliate's bylaws, which we drafted together as an affiliate. Our standard of behavior is the non-aggression principle, right? So going back to libertarian principles, and it takes a unanimous recommendation from our local executive committee, and the entire body has to vote on expelling a member, for instance. So yeah, very, very conservative on that. But the state committee loves to use its power to kick out members, claiming that they are protecting the party. And so, getting to the point now, we've felt, along with a good number of members at large in the party, that this was this basically constituted the string of behavior that the state committee has been demonstrating, constituted that they were not representative of the members and were basically derelict in their duties as stewards of the party, as I like to put it. And so we felt it was necessary to exercise our rights under our founding documents of the Libertarian Association of Massachusetts to call, or rather to petition for a call for a special convention. And in this convention, we would select a new committee. Now, a lot of people have been saying that, a lot of people on a certain side have been saying, well, what was the justification for kicking out the current state committee? It's not really that. Our petition only called for a free and open election. So the current state committee members are completely able to be nominated on the floor and be reelected if they have the support and the constituency to do that.
Okay, so let's simplify this a little bit, because not everybody is as autistic as we are, and I need some dumbing down sometimes, especially with these Robert's Rules of Nerdgasms that we get into in the Libertarian Party. But so Rothbard was kicked out. Like, just to summarize, Rothbard was kicked out, and then you guys were pissed off about that, rightfully so, and you're like, hey, we need to discuss this. They weren't discussing it, and so you were going around. Did I hear right that you were actually driving around and making sure you did everything as legit as possible? Like, you weren't taking electronic signatures or anything like that? You were going to people?
Yeah, we talked about this very carefully. Like, this isn't just something we made last minute. Like, as I said, I've been watching the state committee since May or June, just to help get involved. But it very clearly became very contentious early on. But still tried to get involved. And my condition after the Masha thing was if an action by the state committee would materially affect how we would do in the April convention, the scheduled regular convention. So we've been talking about this for a while. We have a great parliamentarian here who helped us draft the petition, and we very carefully thought about it. And so, no, we didn't accept electronic signatures because we wanted to make sure that we were doing everything by the book, because our Constitution just says signed. So we just went with physical signatures. And yes, we did drive around Massachusetts. Several of us did, collecting signatures from people who felt that the petition was worthwhile to have.
Okay, and in the simplest terms possible, your goal with this petition was to overthrow the entirety of the party and kick everybody out, right?
Oh, exactly. We want to purge literally everybody.
Yeah.
No, it was to select leadership in whom we could have confidence. As I've said, I've watched the state committee a while, and it's really just been a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
And another point of information is that one of the state committee members has actually moved out of state. He lives in New Hampshire now, and by our own constitution, any reasonable reading would say that he should not have a vote on that committee. He could possibly be a member, but he definitely should not have a vote. And another state committee member resigned shortly after the Masha expulsion. So the state committee is kind of being was kind of running on fumes, anyways. It wasn't really representative of what happened in March, and all that put together just is to say that we felt it was necessary as soon as possible to select a state committee that was more representative of the membership.
And how would that work exactly? Like, you guys hold a convention and you all say, "Hey, we disagree with we're going like it." I can understand. I'm trying to see it from their perspective. I can understand how that could be seen as like, I don't know, in coup, insurrection, basically what they did, but in reverse, because I mean, they're seeing it as you're taking away our power, or you guys are, collecting signatures to take away our power. You say it was all by the books. Is there anything that they would have perceived as not being by the books in that? Or is that, like, I don't know, is this normal standard practice when something like this arises to say, hey, we're going to hold a vote that we made up to kick you guys, to remove you guys from office or whatever?
I mean, I will say this is unprecedented, at least as far as I know of Libertarian Party of Massachusetts history, but it's perfectly valid within our Constitution. Like, our Constitution states that if 10% of the membership signs on to a petition calling for a special convention, then the state committee must organize a convention within 30 to 60 days. Now, to give to play devil's advocate here for a second, the other side is arguing that part of our agenda items on our petition were invalid or what's called out of order. Their argument for this is that we must have that a state committee can only be elected at a regular convention. I have good parliamentarians that are saying that that's actually not true, but that's something that they're arguing. And as to your point, that were we really just doing what they did in reverse? I think that's probably that's a false analogy in the sense that we were calling a special election per our Constitution. It was going to be, or supposed to be, widely advertised to all the membership, and it was an open election. The exact same board could have been elected again, and I think all of us would have accepted the results of said election. An honorable loss is still an honorable loss.
So it's basically just a recount type of deal. Like, hey, we're going to vote again, or we're going to. I guess it's not really again because it's been a while, but okay, I think I understand. Now, so they just take us through to the next step. What was their response initially? Did they have any response to you guys going around signing petitions? Was there any back and forth conversations there, or was it just like, we're doing this and we're not, they found out or whatever?
No, this wasn't done in the dark at all. So what happened is in the December state committee meeting, so all the state committee members get together once a month. It's open to the membership. This is also another point of contention I'll probably discuss later. In that meeting is when they voted on 2 bylaws changes that we found were improper and warranted, kind of was the straw that broke the camel's back to warrant a special convention petition. And we told them so in this meeting. And from that point, we started collecting signatures from pretty much everybody that would want to join in. And we did this in a matter of like 5 days, so pretty short. And then we submitted it to them within that the weekend after that meeting. It was me emailed out to the chair and the secretary. I received a receipt of that petition, and then Ashley Shade made a statement. The chair of LAMA made a statement. I think 2 days after I had submitted it. It was a couple days after, essentially stating that they'd make their decision after the holidays, which ended up being true. It was just significantly after the holidays.
Right.
So yeah, no, they were well informed. We submitted it to their emails, to the Slack channel, which is used internally to communicate amongst members.
Okay. All right. So, I did have a question, and it's gone now.
Must have been not been important.
I mean, is any of this really important? Just kidding. No, I think what happened is absolute bullshit. But like I said on when I had Masha on and Justin on, I've had nothing but good interactions with Ashley, so it's really unfortunate to see this type of shit go down. She was the party or the chair of the whole party in Massachusetts, right?
Yeah, and she actually resigned on Monday. I think this is due to a requirement that's since she has been elected to a city council, she cannot serve on a board of a party.
Okay.
Not necessarily related to current situation. But yeah, it
Convenient
really is
timing,
unfortunate.
though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little convenient. And to your point, it really is unfortunate that we kind of have to be in this situation because, I joined this party to combat the state, right? And here I am wasting a whole bunch of time trying to organize a special convention to basically retain my rights to have a say in how the party messaging and what the party does and what happens in the party. Because I do have some very strong opinions on how we should go about using the Libertarian Party brand and party apparatus to combat the state more effectively. But I have to waste my time fighting with people who very, very, very strongly disagree with me and are willing to go to extreme lengths to prevent me from having a say in the matter.
And I'll give a call out to Ashley as well, just like I did with Will McVeigh when we got into the Delaware stuff. I am open to anybody coming on and sharing their side of the story, and you are welcome to do so. Just let me know. Just hit me up. We'll make it happen. But oh hey, Janelle's here. 1 second. So now my train of thought's gone. I remembered the question I was going to ask you, and then Janelle called in, and now the whole thing just it's gone.
Oh great, Janelle's here.
Yeah. So let me see. Oh, that's not it. Wait. We'll figure this out. There we go. Hi, Janelle. Can you hear me?
Hello. I can hear you.
All right, good. Let me rearrange some stuff here. But Brody, the question I was going to ask you is just to clarify, like, what was the what did the petition specify as like your reasoning behind feeling the need to take this course of action? Like, what were the things that they did? Was it just that they were inactive, or was there more to it than that?
Oh yeah, so the petition itself is just the document that basically is requested that we were going to have or request to the state committee that we have a special convention. It's not a political document whatsoever. It's more or less a parliamentary document or legal document. It doesn't have much reasoning in it, but I can give you the reasoning from my point of view. We put out a statement as the Mises Caucus of Massachusetts, basically outlining what reasoning we had behind this. I can give a summary of that if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Okay, so let me just pull it up real quick and remember my bullet points from this here.
Sure.
Statement.
Janelle, while he's bringing that up, do you want to give a little brief introduction of yourself and what we haven't gotten to the good part yet. We're leaving them on a cliffhanger as to what exactly happened, but if you want to give like a little bit of brief history of you and your involvement in like the caucus and the party and that type of thing.
Okay, so I'm actually not a part of any caucus. I was recruited into the party in 2020 by Michael Burns and Ashley Shade with the intention of setting up an affiliate in Worcester County of Massachusetts. I also was able to set up the Spike event through their suggestion in Worcester. So, yeah, I mean, and then I ran for state committee, kind of very last minute, but I did run for state committee, and I was the communications director, now expelled, due to my signing of this petition.
Let's just say you're still the communications director. Let's just say that.
Oh.
we don't acknowledge bullshit around here. We only call it out. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so my involvement has just been to grow the party in the state. We have very small state party, so and I was reasonably successful to get at least a dozen people initially to join the Worcester County affiliate. We have about 6 or 7 that participate regularly in our meetings, and that's only starting to go up now with all this controversy.
Gotcha. Of course, it always stabs them in the back. It seems like. So keep it coming, guys. Just keep the corruption flowing, and we'll see how that turns out for you in Reno. But Brody, back to you. Did you have that pulled up?
I do, yeah. It's we have it stored at info.lpmcma.com/statement. If anybody wants to read that. So yeah, our reasoning is actually recently decently long. It's about eight points, and that's just a summary. But essentially, the state committee, or at least certain members of the state committee, have called newcomers. Many of the newcomers are Mises Caucus people as Republican insurgents. That the chair has shut off shut off communication channels in the state committee meetings. So what happened is Ashley Shade previously, when you went to the state committee meetings, you were free to talk in the chat and raise your hand and politely interject. Well, once Ashley Shade got wind that we were getting more involved, she shut off the chat, claiming that it was out of order, which if you can't even bring up your point, then it can't be out of order.
Right.
And essentially wouldn't let members speak, and if they did, she would literally mute you mid-sentence. Like, if she didn't like what you were talking about, she'd mute you mid-sentence. So that's
cool.
Something we really didn't like. Something that is that was really hard to get through was these local affiliates that I've mentioned, the strategy of forming local affiliates so that we can do local action. That is usually organized through the political director, and not to throw him too much under the bus, but he really wasn't responsive, unfortunately. It took him a couple months to get back to me for the Middlesex. Luckily, we did end up having like an hour meeting on it and did get some stuff done. But there's the Pioneer Valley affiliate, which is some of the western 3 counties of Massachusetts that's attempting to form a local affiliate. Hasn't gotten back to them. So basically just steamrolling our efforts to form local affiliates because they didn't like who was being involved. And then, of course, the ramming through of the standards of behavior itself. Something I haven't mentioned with the code of conduct or the code of compliance, whatever you want to call it, is that in the state committee meeting, a good number of us members, on the order of like 20 of us, were in this meeting, and every single one of the members at large that commented was against this standard of behavior and thought it should be pushed back to a convention at the very least.
Yeah.
Of course, they ignored us on that point. And then overall, basically lack of knowledge, either deliberate or unconscious, of our founding documents, of our bylaws and constitution, and an overall censorship of members of the committee itself. So Janelle knows this all too well personally, and Charlie Larkin as well, who's on the committee, who is an upstanding libertarian. They censored or otherwise hindered those 2 committee members from doing their duties as duly elected members of the state committee. And then I think one of the big contentions that really came to head in November was they elected, or rather appointed, Tara DeSisto as a state committee member. Now, Tara DeSisto is also a national staffer. I see this as a huge conflict of interest, and she really came out of nowhere. So they claim that all of us newcomers came out of nowhere and that we're these insurgents, but Tara DeSisto has never been involved in the state party as far as I'm aware, and I've never seen her around as long as I've been involved in the state party.
Is that where this is going? She's fed, right?
I'll just say that your screen glows in the meetings that she's in. And this same state committee member tried to disenfranchise members after we submitted the petition by saying that they weren't dues-paying members because they paid monthly, which is entirely false and is, borderline fraud.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's a bit. It's a bit of stuff. Yeah. Okay. So, and Janelle, feel free to jump in at any time or whatever. I think there might be a delay. If you need to disconnect and reconnect, that's fine too. If there's a delay, but yeah, chime in whenever you need. But let's move forward into. Oh, first off, I wanted to ask you, Janelle. You said you're not a Mises Caucus member, but you were on this list. So you got removed,
Yes.
right? Or removed, we'll say.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what as a non-Mises Caucus member, I do think it's important to get your take on like why you personally thought this petition was worth passing around.
Well, you know, just if the behavior of the state committee in general was just becoming very concerning to me. There was lots of talk of we need to keep Mises people out. I mean, I try to come from a very neutral point, but it was very much like, you know, even before our last convention, and even when I was setting up my affiliate in Worcester, it was like they wanted me to gatekeep any type of right-leaning libertarians, people that liked Ron Paul, which, hi.
Right.
I like Ron Paul.
Yes, let's kick out all the Ron Paul libertarians. The guy who brought in most of us. Let's kick those guys out.
Yes, yeah, exactly. You know, they wanted me to gatekeep ahead of time. There was concern about, you know, one of my members who was like, I don't know what the specific thing was. He was saying, you know, what brought him into libertarianism. And, you know, I get a text message saying, hey, you know, be careful with him because that person is right-leaning and et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, why is this such a paranoia?
Right.
You know, and yeah, it has been made very clear that they don't want to work with the Mises Caucus at all.
She's
and
so not.
From my perspective,
Janelle is so not Mises Caucus. She doesn't even know how to pronounce Mises Caucus. Sorry. Go on.
But yeah, and then, you know, there's instances where if you tend to agree with anything that the Mises Caucus says, you are automatically Mises.
Right.
You know, you're automatically there. That's, you know, it's collective thinking, and collectivism. And, you know, and I even made this point during the closed executive session where everyone was expelled, was that, you know, you're going to expel these people as a group because they signed a petition.
Right.
Instead of just dismissing the petition, which they had their reasons for, but they wanted to expel everyone as a group and then say, you know, you can reapply to us and ask us for your membership back. And then by a 2/3 vote, we'll allow each individual that way. And I was like, well, wouldn't you want to go down the list and individually see each person's error and give them due process, such as your code of conduct that you just passed is supposed to allow? And they said, no, that does not apply here.
So to clarify, they kicked everybody on that list. They held a secret meeting and they said, we're moving every single one of them, and they can come groveling back to beg to get into the party if they want to.
Right, and I didn't even receive an agenda prior to the meeting. I asked for it, and I was being told it was being worked on. I joined the meeting a little bit late because I was still waiting on the agenda. When I got into the meeting, they were already in progress. And, you know, I saw that part of the agenda, the very end, with the screen share. And, you know, so it was even much a surprise to me as a committee member that this was what was going to go down.
So they didn't make like a big deal out of this. They were just like, yeah, we're holding a meeting, and you know, the normies aren't going to be able to watch or anything. And you know, it's just a meeting. Right. And then you see on there, and also you're going to get kicked out. So, you know, show up if you want.
Pretty much.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, what was the conversation? And this is for either of you. Were you both involved in that meeting? Were you both present at the time?
I was not.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So
it was only the committee.
What's that?
It was only the state committee that was at that meeting.
Gotcha. So what has been the chatter since then? It was 47 people. How many people were on the party? Like, what percentage of the membership did they decide to remove on a whim?
So I think it was approximately 25%.
Yeah, exactly. I think somebody did the numbers. It's there were 204 members as of the December report, so whatever 47 over 204 is.
What a great way to, you know, incentivize people to join your party. Hey, you might get kicked out if you feel the wrong way. And I do think it's funny that they spend a lot of time screaming about how Mises people are like conspiracy theorists and right-wing crazy people, and they're gonna form a coup and take it. Meanwhile, they're like paranoid that Mises people are all racists and everything. Like, they're the conspiracy theorists, and because of that, they're carrying out coups to stop coups and coups in their head. That's what they're fighting against. So just like next level hypocrisy to make sure they maintain their place of power. Do you guys think that this is actually them being concerned that Mises people are taking over, or is it them just being concerned about losing their job or losing their position of power?
I very much think it's about them losing their political positions, in my opinion. I don't think the thing is that as I mentioned, some big point of contention for me is the fact that I've never met these people in person because they haven't had an in-person meetup. I've not had gone down to the local bar and had a beer with these guys and chatted with these people and chatted with them. That really simmers down all the kind of
right.
How contentious things can get on the internet. Unfortunately, so it's not like these people know who we are. They haven't sat down and asked me what do you think of the ethics of liberty or something. I had a nice conversation with me, so they don't know who we are. I only know who they are from their actions that they've done, and I have not been too impressed. So it cannot be a true belief of us being the bigoted horde, because they have no idea. They have no information of whether or not we're bigots or not, because they've never met us.
Right. Yeah, that seems to kind of be the trend. Like, I don't know. Everybody that I talk to that thinks that the Mises Caucus is a bunch of, I don't know, radical right wingers or something infiltrating. Why would the radical right wingers infiltrate a party of libertarians? It just sounds exhausting. She's gone. Okay. Hold on. Let me kick her out of here. We'll see if she comes back.
She'll be back.
Yeah. I don't remember where I was going, but it's. I don't know. It's so exhausting having these conversations over and over again when it seems like the vast majority of people who believe this type of stuff are just like I was, where it's like hold on, she's back. Maybe she's here. There she is. Yeah, it seems like a lot of these people that are afraid of the Mises Caucus are just afraid for the same reasons as I. Whoop, that's not the right one. Hold on. I'll get my shit together. 1 second. It seems like they're kind of just going off of word of mouth, and like a small handful of people that know the truth keep projecting these things while they're carrying out the same attacks and stuff. And then we've got like hordes, to use their terminology. We've got hordes of people, and the horde is shrinking, but we've got hordes of people that are just going along because that's what they hear. That's what they've heard about the Mises Caucus, and they just go with it without looking into it. Janelle, what's kind of been your perception of the Mises Caucus as an outsider there?
So, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I have seen specific tweets and stuff that I honestly really strongly disagree with. Yeah. That being said, I judge people individually, and so I don't judge people as a collective group. Even if, we shouldn't. So the whole thing is like, oh, well, if you see one thing you don't like from this caucus, well, then you should disassociate with them completely. Well, I don't think that's true. Right. I think that everybody needs to be judged individually. And from the people that I've interacted with, they've been way more open to hearing my points of view, and they've been way more welcoming. Yeah. Now the other side might say that's because they want to get you on their side. Well, I have a mind of my own.
They do. Of course they do. And their barriers to entry are lower because they're not kicking out people from their caucus who just believe slightly different autism than you do. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. But so what's the next step? Where do we go from here? This is still pretty fresh. Like we said, it just happened on Monday. Has anything transpired since Monday? As national weighed in or anything like that?
Oh, there's a whole lot. I think the important thing for people who are not in Massachusetts is the LNC has approved their meeting on Sunday, the 23rd, I believe at 7:30. I'm gonna have to double check that one, but it is about the Massachusetts matter. So it's much like what that meeting we had back in June about New Hampshire and the recent one in December about Delaware. So that's important for if you're a national member or even if you're a national member, just show up to that meeting and show support for Massachusetts. We're going to be there to plead our case to the LNC that we are being improperly handled here in Massachusetts and that the state committee here is not following their own founding documents and that needs to be rectified. And also, Janelle can speak more to this point because she is also chair of the Worcester LP, what actions they're taking to kind of alleviate the situation. But the immediate thing at hand is also our special convention. We're still planning on going forward with that.
Nice. So you guys are just going to say, screw you, we're doing it anyway, and then so the plan there, would it be just like we're going to hold votes and we're going to see how this does and we're going to present that to the LNC and see if they acknowledge it, or how would that work?
Yeah, this won't happen before the LNC's meeting, right? We want to do our due diligence and make sure we contact as many of the LAMA members as we are required to.
Yeah.
And so that means we'd have 30 days notice. But yeah, that's it's likely going to be a similar situation to Delaware, how we're going to ask the LNC for a proper recognition of the legitimate organization.
Gotcha. And I don't remember what your question was to, or your point was to Janelle to weigh in, but feel free to go back to that.
So yeah, Worcester did vote to not recognize the meeting that happened on Monday as a legal meeting, and so our small affiliate intends to go forward as if nothing happened.
Okay. Gotcha. I like it. I think that's the only thing you can do right now, other than insurrection their asses and storm in there. But I don't recommend that. And what would you even storm into? They don't hold meetings in person. Was there a reason why they don't hold meetings in person? Is it because of COVID fear, or is it just laziness, or what?
I think it's convenience, and maybe some COVID stuff, but I don't think it's COVID fear necessarily, because I don't think that they're opposed to meeting in person. It's just that people live all over the state. And so sometimes for some people, it would be like a 3-hour drive, to go into, say, Boston.
Sure.
I know for me in Worcester, it would be, an hour and a half drive into Boston if we were going to hold our meetings there, for an example. So I think it's more of a convenience to hold it via Zoom. But I don't know. I've never really been given a reason why we're on Zoom. I've always known it because I joined up during COVID.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't remember if we covered this or not, but what was their reasoning? Like when they made the announcement that 25% of the party is no longer in the party, what was their justification, their reasoning for it? Was it, we have to preserve the blah, blah, blah of this party and blah, 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 and we're scared of people, or what?
They made the statement that they were protecting the party, that this was aggression, that they even went so far as to say that the formation of the sub-affiliates was an aggressive attempt. They
petitions are aggression. What an ironic thing for libertarians to think who spend 90% of their time petitioning in the party, but whatever. Continue.
Yes, and they also went so far as to say this is fraudulent, that these members had just signed up just to do this specific thing, because a good portion, I guess, signed up after the last convention. So their reasoning was, since they weren't at our last convention and they signed this petition, we're going to assume that the only reason that they signed up was to pull this coup. But the word
even
coup,
if they did,
to me,
that's not That's not illegal. That's not like outside your bylaws, right? Like maybe like if Sarwar got reelected to chair, there might be some people who join who are just like, well, fuck this guy. I'm going to join just to vote against him. There's nothing illegal about that.
You're right. But also I think that, the way the petition is written is that nominations are open from the floor. So it wasn't like we want to recall everyone. And I was on the committee, so I know that my seat was up when I signed that document. And that was okay with me because I felt like I was, staying true to my principles by signing it. And that I would not have signed a document that was like, we're just going to recall this board and replace it with who we want. It was nominations are open from the floor. So if they thought they had the votes, why wouldn't they have just gone through with the special convention?
Right. No, I agree. So we were talking about like what's happened since then, and we're talking about these conventions and stuff. Is there been any new information that's come out, or have they been pretty hush on it? Just like, this is our announcement. Ashley leaves to go do her other thing at very coincidental timing, and are they just hush? Other than that, just playing it cool, or what?
By and large, yes. There's been no official communications. I mean, all of us that were allegedly removed from the party have been removed from the internal Slack channel, which is where most of the communications occurred. We did receive an email a couple days ago from Ashley Shade containing both her resignation and summarizing the situation. I think Karen Ann Harlos has a better summary of this statement than I could give here. Essentially, she summarizes what Janelle just said, including some other ridiculous claims that some affiliates were Mises affiliates, which includes Janelle's own affiliate, which of course she and many of her members of her affiliate, or that affiliate, the Worcester affiliate, are not Mises members. And even if the majority of members of an affiliate are Mises members, it doesn't mean it's their affiliate. So. But they are keeping quiet on formal channels by and large. But there are some individual state committee members that are poking about on Facebook and other public fora, kind of just giving their side of things. So some are keeping quiet, some aren't.
Gotcha. And what are you guys' plans personally? Do you want? I guess this isn't quite the same as freaking Delaware. Delaware was like. People getting removed from their positions of office or whatever, and now we're talking about people in positions of office, and we're talking about how many officials were there that got removed? Because let me finish my statement first. Sorry, I'm very ADHD, but it wasn't just people in like 3 people in positions of office. Sorry, Dave Casey, I know he's in the chat. I don't mean to demean your suffering. I almost said suffrage. That's not the word. Vote however you want, Dave Casey. But this was just regular, normal members in the party, which is absolutely absurd. And 25% of them, I just can't get over that. But I don't remember what my question was initially. If you recall, feel free to answer it.
So there was 2 state committee members that were removed because we signed the petition.
Okay, gotcha. And so what is the best outcome here? What do you guys see happening? I know it's not great to make predictions at this stage, but do you guys think that this is going to go all the way through to Reno before something happens, or do you think it'll be taken care of?
I think it will go through to Reno. It's likely we will have 2 delegations going to Reno, and there will be a fight much like in Delaware over which delegation gets picked.
I feel like Reno's just going to be like, they're going to have to add days to it because we're just going to be spending the entire time putting states back together that have been torn apart by anti-Mises people at this point. But yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time for sure. Not happy with it, but I guess it's what we got to do what we got to do,
Yeah.
Back to our point of like who would care about the tiny, powerless little libertarian party but libertarians themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just really passionate about the libertarian brand and that we should represent ourselves as best as we can, right? We should embody that Ron Paulian spirit, the true libertarian spirit, and carry that forward. So that's why I'm here for the fight. We're surrounded by absolute tyranny, and it only gets worse day by day. And the sooner we get over these, petty people who like their little social clubs, the better.
Yeah. Well, we're pushing an hour. Do you guys got any final thoughts? Actually, before we do that, let me ask: do you guys have any thoughts on like what people should do? Is there any way that people can help out you guys, help out your party, help out your local caucus and affiliates and all that?
Well, if you're in Massachusetts, join. It sounds weird, but join the state party. You cannot change the party unless you get involved. As a
And
famous
they might let you
former, yeah, as a famous and now disgraced former chair has said, the party belongs to the people who show up, right? So just get involved, and there are good people, honest libertarians doing work. Even of course, inside the Mises Caucus we have very opinionated, but outside the Mises Caucus, I've had the pleasure of interacting with Janel, Charlie, and other people here in Massachusetts that are honest libertarians and want to make real change. So get involved, join the state party, find your local affiliate. You can contact me if you're in Middlesex County. I'm the Middlesex chair. Jason Brand is the vice chair, and Scott David Gray is our secretary. We have meetings about every other month. And I'll let Janel say her spiel in a second about Worcester. But yeah, get involved in the state party, get involved in local affiliates. If you're not in Massachusetts, show up and support us on the 23rd at the LNC meeting. And we'd greatly appreciate it if there was a good turnout at that meeting and expressing support for Massachusetts.
Awesome. And Janelle, you got any final thoughts or anything?
I would just like to reiterate what Brody said, is that, get involved in the party. The party just lost 47 members. And so if you're a passionate libertarian, get involved in your sub-affiliates. And, just keep on keeping on, because, we need to really come together in the end to grow the liberty movement and to be able to actually work together as a party. And that's all I ever wanted to see. So I hate that I'm in the middle of this divisiveness, but at the same time, sometimes you have to stick up for yourself and you have to stick up for what you believe in. And that can put you in sticky situations. So that being said, is just, join and keep doing what you got to do.
Right on. And I personally am questioning whether or not either of you guys are libertarians, because I'm pretty sure this is both of your first time being on a podcast, which if you have not been on a podcast or don't have a podcast, I severely question your dedication to liberty.
Yeah, and I'm also more square than Tom Woods, so I'm like the worst libertarian ever.
Right on. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I look forward to seeing what comes out of this. Hopefully, justice is served. Hopefully this stuff goes the way it should. And sorry this happened to you, but hang in there. And thank you guys for being here. And we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. Take care. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here for another episode of Libertarian Party bullshit, which is unfortunately trending around here lately. It's probably only going to get worse leading up to, I think, March, May, whenever the Reno is. But I'll be there in Reno. That's the plan currently. I'll be there, and I'll be covering shit, and I'll be probably exposing some shit as well. But, if you're, like I said earlier, if you're involved in this on the other side, hit me up. Ashley Shade, hit me up if you're interested in coming on and sharing your side. I am not opposed to having anybody on to have a conversation. And I know that you ran campaigns on let's love everybody and talk to everybody. I'm all about it. Come on, let's talk about it and see if that still holds up. But I would love to stop talking about this. I'll stop talking about it when it stops happening. But if you're as annoyed by it as I am, figure out how to get to Reno and let's change some stuff and make a difference. Be the change you want to see in the Libertarian Party, I suppose you could say. But thank you all for being here. Thanks for being in the live stream, and thank you for being in the chats. Like, share, subscribe, go join the Patreon and all that shit. But that's going to be it for today, guys. I don't think we're going to have an after party, but thanks for hanging out, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Until then, question everything, stay uncomfortable, and peace.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe on your way out and help us change the world one uncomfortable conversation at a time. And if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, go join the Downers Club at patreon.com/thesystemsdown. for bonus episodes of the show every single week. Until next time, please continue to question everything, stay uncomfortable, and I'll talk to you then. Thanks.
This has been a Goulash Media production. goulashmedia.net.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.